Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another Southern California first time buyer market update. And nope, not a clickbaity title. I totally believe this. In fact, if you're one of my clients, especially who's been considering an investment, I've been probably saying something similar to you for, gosh, probably about the last month or so. Um, those of you, we promised to do a very special condo video. We're still going to do that. So I'm working on the person that I'm going to do that video with. We're just trying to schedule a time to kind of put that together. Anyhow, what are we talking about today, and why is it a good time to buy a condo right now? And there's a huge divergence between the market for condos, which is kind of doing this, and the market for entry level single family homes, which is kind of doing this. And so, whenever I see a separation like that, I think it's a chance for people who are particularly savvy. Maybe this pushes them in one direction or another on what they want to do. So let's go ahead and get started. My name is Stephen Meade with Domicile Real Estate, where we are on a mission to help California's renters become homeowners. And this week we are talking about condos. I want to get straight into it. I do think there's a little bit of a window of opportunity here, especially for those of you who are pretty savvy on this. So when I see it, I talk about it so people can take advantage of it. So let's go ahead and get it started. So the very first thing we're looking at is closed prices, right? And remember, this is always a rear view mirror look, right? This is looking in the past, gosh, 4 to 8 weeks in the past, representing transactions that have just closed in the past 2 weeks. And again, just as a refresher, like this is the first quartile. We do this to approximate entry level. So it's not a median. So if a median is halfway between the bottom and the top, the first quartile is halfway between the bottom and the median. So if you're looking at this, that gives us a good representation. The blue line here is our entry level single family homes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath in LA and Orange counties. And our entry level condo is represented by the red line. And what you're going to notice here is that there's a little bit more volatility in the single family homes, but it's on a bit of an upswing. And overall, if you look at kind of where it's been, right, like it's kind of finishing the year reasonably strong. If you come down here on the red line, this is the area that I really want to talk about at the moment. Look at the shape of this chart over the last year, right? The shape of this chart is showing that we've really actually seen it be flat and maybe even like pointing a little bit down over the last year. Like this is a different market than the single family home market, right? A single family home is hot and rising, and I'm going to show you some other evidence why I think that's happening. The condo market is exactly the opposite. So if we look at our total monthly payment, again, this is based on where mortgage rates are. This is based on a 5% down, including mortgage insurance, taxes, etc. That entry level 2-bedroom, 2-bath condos here at $4,200 about per month. That is actually a bit better than we were at any point, in the last year. I mean, that's really a great number to be at. I think technically back in August we were $1 less or something like that. Now, if you look at our entry level single family home, things are still good, but really we're trading about where we were at last year. So it's not really a discount, whereas you're actually looking at a discount here on the condo front. And you're going to see that's another theme. So minimum income required to make this happen if you don't have any other debts, right? So this is putting 5% down. This is not a huge down payment, but if you have no other debts, you really need around $155,000 to make this happen on that entry level single family home, and $103,000 on that entry level condo. That is a pretty big spread. In fact, I think that's about the widest that spread has been at any point this year. Again, pointing to a sign that maybe now is the time to be looking in the direction of condos. That's definitely what I'm telling my investors. Now, if we look at our absorption rate, right, like this is another huge kind of indication, right? This is a number, this absorption rate higher means it means homes are going into escrow close to the same rate they're coming on the market, 86% on entry level single family homes. That is not a buyer's market. That is a seller's market for sure. However, look at the direction of things in this condo market. That is 58%. And look at the spread between these 2 points, right? These are asset classes that are moving in opposite directions. So if you're a first-time home buyer, especially if you need to ask for closing cost credits, if you need to, if you really are looking for that deal, really a condo is going to be a better deal for you right now. Total inventory. This is the one also I thought was kind of fascinating, right? Condo inventory, it is gently declining here as we head in towards the end of the year. But gosh, look at that entry level single family home pricing. It peaked in early August and it's really been taking a dive since then. I mean, this number's really been coming down. Gosh, this is almost the closest these two numbers have ever been in terms of number of units, not because the condo level is so high, but because that entry level single family home level has really been taking a dive. Is it more inventory than last year at the entry level end? Yes, but really this is still not a highly inventoried market. That condo market is definitely weaker. If we look here on 14-day percent still active, remember a higher number here is a weaker market. We do see something kind of coming up here a little bit on those single family homes. But on that entry level condo, that number is again much higher than it has been, indicating that condo market is much weaker and less competitive. So if we look at our weak supply of homes, right, like this is the one that I think says a lot about dynamic demand or relative demand. And you'll see here, gosh, our single family home, that's in pretty good shape. Where were we at last year? A little over 8 weeks of inventory, bouncing around between 8 and 9 weeks. Where are we today? Exactly 9 weeks of inventory. It's really been holding steady, I'd say, probably since about the middle to end of August. But look at here on this condo, look at this number rising. We are now at 19 weeks of relative inventory of condos. That means if no new condos went on the market and we just were eating away at the same level, that would be nearly 20 weeks of inventory for those condos. It is more than double the amount that we have for our entry-level single-family homes. I really think this is huge if you're looking when all the signs kind of point in this direction. So let's talk for just a minute. What are the caveats to this approach? Because I think, while it's a great time for a lot of people to be buying a condo, it may not necessarily be a great time for you. And there's some things you need to watch out for. Probably the biggest thing is we have a lot of HOAs that are in a level of distress right now, either financial distress, can't get insurance, various sort of maladies that you're seeing in these HOAs. It's really important to do your homework. And I'm not even saying an HOA that has these issues is a bad buy. Sometimes the price is compensated enough where it is worthwhile. So for example, if you think an HOA might be contemplating a $5,000 special assessment per unit, but prices are depressed by $10,000, that's still a gain for the buyer in that scenario. It doesn't mean it's a bad condo, but you want to understand what you're buying and what the condition of that HOA is. Anyhow, generally, it's a good time to be a first-time home buyer. I know it might not seem that way, but I'm telling you, I think our spring is going to be pretty strong. And, you'll be looking back to this time of year saying, why didn't I do something towards the end of the year in 2025? Definitely like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Questions and comments, we love them. And of course, if you are someone or you know someone who should be a homeowner in California, absolutely, we would love to talk with them, help them, and lend them or you our expertise. There is contact information down below. We will see you again real soon.